Hello and welcome to the Crossing Borders Open Mic. This event is produced as part of the Across the Lines programme running out of the Glens Arts Centre in Manorhamilton in North Leitrim. This is our second open mic, which really is a response to COVID. The global pandemic that has seen the introduction of new borders and boundaries upon us all. We decided to seize the World Wide Web and the democracy of the open mic format to showcase the desire and the commitment for community connections, as well as the incredible talent of our region. Inspired by the shared spiritual and ancient pathways of North Leitrim and Fermanagh, we created the theme Waypoints and Markers. Whilst our lockdown restrictions are easing and we're beginning to move out cautiously and tentatively, we felt it may be important to create an opportunity for individuals to give expression to that which has arisen over the 3 months of lockdown. My name is Ruth Gonsalves-Moore, and as the coordinator of the Cross the Lines programme at the Glens Centre, I would like to thank every single performer that has taken time to make a recording and to submit it as part of this programme. I would especially like to thank Joel Smith, Monica Corish, Brendan McCarthy and Maria McManus, who have shared creative material in the lead up to this evening. I'd like to thank Phoebe Dick for her wonderful graphics, Kate O'Shea for her emotional support, Jonas Delos for his technical help, and a special word of thanks to Cormac Carroll, our technical manager at the Glens, whose technical skill and whose presence in the Glens streaming this event makes all of this possible. I'm recording this from Kildays in County Fermanagh, and tonight through our programme we will be bouncing along and about the border from Enniskillen to Manorhamilton to Glenaid to Garrison, and indeed the joy of the World Wide Web, we'll be reaching out beyond our shores with performers from Gateshead and beyond. I hope you're sitting comfortably, well settled into your sofa with the watch parties happening. Please enjoy the show and tell your friends, and thank you for joining us. Good night.
Hi everybody at the Glens Centre in Manorhamilton and out and about in the surrounding area. Thanks Ruth for including me in your project. This poem is called The Coping Stone, and it is written specifically about that stone on the bridge between Belcoo and the Black, where you can put your fingers into the holes. A ritual that I did for many years as a teenager growing up around there, and every time we crossed that bridge on foot, stopped to do that and actually place our fingers into the holes in that stone that marked the border. The Coping Stone. A storm arrives 2 days after I see the first of this year's swallows, and here in the dark, sleepless, I have gone under. A cree, how often did we walk that border, the bridge, gaze out over lower Loch Macneen, the river, upper Loch Macneen, or backwards towards the mewling peregrines wheeling over hanging rock, Clad Glen, Marble Arch, Culca. We could believe that they were evidence that some things survive, that otherness, the pure past, perhaps a pristine innocence might come again. In the meantime, we'd navigate that old chicane. Barracks, army, barracks, police, stop, customs. The coping stone on the bridge, fingers 4, the thin line above the river cut in stone, fingers 4, our shoulders easing down, custom stad, An Garda Síochána stad, sandbags and harm. The back bar of the bush with Martel's maps was our cave. The Shannon pot, cradles upper, lower, Pulasilla, Shrew Croppa, Pull Nagullum of the boats. And we were all underground then, like the cavers turning off the top of a bar stool, curling through its legs and back to the seat without their slim, pliable bodies ever hitting the ground, not once. We could believe in otherness then, as sure as there were cave pearls, as sure as the Clara River poured out, pure and cleansed from solid rock.
How are you? It's Trish Bennett here again, for those who don't know me, and I write poetry and other stuff, but I'll probably do poetry for you today. And thanks again to Ruth for persuading me to have another go. I enjoyed the last crack and I'm glad people got a kick out of it. So I'm hoping you'll enjoy what I'm doing today. And I got the hair done the other day. I'll tell you, it was needed. Thank you so much, Kylie. You're a great woman to put up with me. This one is, the first one I'm going to kick off with is a series of covidiums. They're a list of haikus put into a book to commemorate the lockdown that we're all going through at the moment. And it was the initiative of Colin Dardis and Geraldine Dardis O'Kane for coming up with this, and it's part of Poetry NI. So this is my first haiku that I've ever had published, and it's short and sweet, you'll be pleased to hear. And I think it's appropriate to these days. Your hair reminds me of Tiger King Joe's mullet on a bad hair day. Told you it was short. This one I'm going to do now is about Kilty, and it's dedicated to all my American cousins who are stuck out there and can't get home to visit this year. And we miss ye as much as ye miss coming over. So it's for them, and it's about my dad and the yarns he'd tell when they'd come home to trace their ancestors. And no more than my dad, not all the facts are in here either. I never let the facts get in the way of a good story. And this originally was published in the Leitrim Guardian, who gave me my first poetry award. And tell you what, it's all you're partly to blame for this whole confidence I have now. So I hope you enjoy it. And I know some of you have heard it before, but here we go. Kilty Relics. In the 80s, the far out relations breezed in our door to trace their roots and ooh and ah our home. 150 years old. A museum. My brother and I on display, 20th century Irish teens. Mam stuffed them with tea, tart and treacle bread. Go on, a little bit more. While Dad dished out hot ones and stories galore. Later he drove down dung-filled roads, made them stop to let fairies cross. They hopped out with flashes, white, innocent smiles, and pressed roses from hedges in their Ireland guides. In the graveyard by Loch Melvin's shore, Dad had no clue where the ancestors lay. A minor point, they'd come all this way. He showed them a grave by the limestone wall. Question after question came, until they asked, why the unmarked plot? His answer nailed the questions shut. When people left long ago, 'twas tradition to send money home for a decent wake and a good headstone. They called to a cottage on the return. A mound of stones in the field beside was all that remained of their ancestors' lives. My father spoke to the man at the door. They've come from the States. We can't disappoint. So the man became a far out cousin, threw himself into the role. Come in to me home. Your great-grandmother's bed's in the lower room, where she knelt every night to say her prayers. She sat here at the hearth. Sit down in her chair. He gave them a piece of the hearthstone, a relic to share. The far-out relations breezed home with tears in their eyes and rose-tinted pages in their Ireland guides. I forgot to say that's also in the Bramley, an anthology of flash fiction Armagh that came out this year. Oh, I'm going to punt it all today, folks. I performed that in Armagh, and I had a load of my Armagh cousins the first time I did this, and I was terrified, and they gave me so much support, and thank you. Hope yous are doing all right. Now let me see what I have next on the agenda here for you. Oh yeah, I'm going to the other side of the border now. We're across in Fermanagh. I'm doing poems about either side of the lake. When I moved here first, I was on the other side of the lake. I was over in Blaney, and I was out, and I was away from everything. It was a good few miles from village and that, but I loved it, and I still think of those days. And now I'm on the other side of the lake, looking across the mountain at my neighbours who are still over there, and Howie is the McLaughlins. I know I'll mention everyone again today, I can't help myself, but there you go. This one's called Sweet Spot, and really it's about the joy of living beside water. I don't know, there's something about it, it lifts me. And this was previously published in a couple of magazines, Corncrake most latest, and The Bee's Breakfast anthology edited by Rebecca Jane Bilkow. I think it's been in a few other things as well. And it's been in the Label Lit project by Maria McManus. So here we go, I'll stop talking and I'll start again. Sweet Spot, Lower Lough Erne viewed from Clara Road, Blaney. Each morning I grasp the curtains with tired hands and fling my arms wide. The rings rattle in retreat on their rail as I await the lift like a cradled child. Sun tackles showers on in-between days. Sprinkles of rainbow are cast upon isles. Boats speckle the loch like white chocolate chips, rippling the mirrored reflection of sky. My eyes soak it up as the day kicks in. I float away on a natural high. Each night I take a closing fix. Through the shadows, Irvinstown twinkles a smile. A handful of jewels draped on the end of one arm, while I perch content on the other side. Oh, there's something about Lough Erne. I love the lakes. And I moved then to the other side of the lake, where our home is now, and it's close to Castle Archdale, Lough Erne Yacht Club, and in Killadees and St Angelo's, where the Catalinas and the Sunderlands flew from during World War II. And I do often hear the planes when they come back for the shows, you know, the air shows in the Catalina, and I love the sound of the Sunderland. Well, I haven't heard the Sunderland, but I've heard the Catalina. I love the sound of it going over. It's like a big purring lion. It's just fabulous. I've always loved planes and wings. I suppose that's why we have an Egypt of a parrot, but there you go. This one really is about, it's in this new anthology, Here You Go Again, by Women Aloud Northern Ireland, and it's I have two poems about Fermanagh, and you've heard one of them. The Sweet Spot is one of them, and the other one's is Raucous of Wings, which is the one I'm going to read you now. And I hope you like it. It's really about what it would have been like to live here when the Catalinas were going over and what people would have felt about it. Raucous of wings. When you live in the sticks, you'd think there'd be peace. Not a hope this week with the racket of winged things. House martins crowd telephone lines, swoop down in a chitter-chatter. A village of starlings lands in the cherry tree. Their raucous upsets the tits enough to flit their feeder. and return to defend their purchase. The Catalinas returned to do laps of the loch, bringing back the sounds of the 40s. She takes the turn so low, her engines hrum thrum over our home. She looks like she'll belly slap Lunny's Hill, but no, she glides on to land at St. Angelo's. When she vrooms over the room on the umpteenth turn, I imagine our lane, a rough track then, fit only for horse and cart and hardy folk. The noise of herself and her Sunderland friends, flying low to land on their Atlantic return. As they roar over stone-walled homes, women grab the beads and bless themselves when their sacred hearts are rattled. I don't know, there's something about the sound of them. I know it wasn't very romantic living through a war. We're living through a different time now, but hopefully we'll all get through it.
Hello, my name is Kenny Somerville. I'm from the townland of Fassa, which is not too far from Garrison, not too far from the Leitrim border. I'd just first like to say thank you very much to the organisers of this wonderful project. Thank you for doing it. And I'd like to sing a song called Loch Melvin's Shore. It was written by Mick Duffy. I'm afraid I don't know very much more about it than that, but I hope you enjoy it. One morning as I went walking down by Loch Melvin's shore, I met a maid, the fairest I had seen, and her grief made my heart sore. Well, I asked this young why the tears fell from her eyes. My father, she said, for he would have me wed to a man that I do despise. Come with me to escape your fate. I'll treat you well and kind, and in a year and a day I'll bring you back to see if your father has changed his mind. And we'll wake up in the morning with the dew all on the ground, and we'll spend our days a-travelling free, and we'll travel this country round. This lovely girl consented then that she would go with me, and we fell in love with a big moon above in Bundoran by the sea. Well, we spent our evenings dancing, and we gave our nights to love, and we lived so free, my true love and me, like the moon and the stars up above. When a year and a day had passed away, we returned to Loch Melvin shore, and late one night by candlelight, well, her father, he came to the door. Well, I thought you were lost, and I thought that you were drowned. And who is this here by your side? Oh, Father dear, he's my own true love, and the father of my child. Now what kind of man are you, he said, to leave my girl with child? No worse I did say than one who'd make her wed to a man that she did despise. And he hung his head in shame, and the anger left his eyes. And he took us in his arms, and he bade us to get warm down by his fireside. And we spent the night a-talking till we could say no more. Now my love and I, we live close by, down by Loch Melvin shore. Thanks very much, everybody, for it's wonderful to be on this project. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of it. In the last couple of months, I've been riding a bicycle around the local roads, around Balleek and Garrison to Loch Melvin, and it's a lovely experience and quite meditative. Pathways, the hedges and ditches, the empty road, the braes and the hollows, the rattle of the chain and the squeak of the pedals turning, the soothing of wind through the bushes. I've been here before, much younger, and formless thoughts below the surface are touched by moving gently through towns and townlands, Breezy, Balleek, Curry, the White Island Road to Derna Cross, Ballyshannon, and back the Nather Road. I'd like to finish up now by just playing a tune. And this tune has a journey associated with it, because it's originally an Irish tune, a very well-known tune. I think you'll recognise it. Played as a hornpipe here, and it travelled to the United States, and in the United States it's a very popular tune, played in bluegrass jams the length and breadth of the country, and the style is quite different, so it modified itself a little bit when it went across the water, and then I'll finish up by playing it once again is a hornpipe. Thanks very much, everybody, and especially thanks to the organisers. Thank you.
Break for the Border by Joel Smith. I've decided to go makeup freak for this one. When I wrote this, I looked at the clock. It's early, just gone 6:30. 5 children and 1 breastfeeding mother are still asleep. Pangur Rashta, a picky eater, will no doubt shortly be tapping relentlessly at every window of the ground floor of this semi-detached house to get inside and be fed several different environmentally unfriendly sachets of food, curse the manufacturers. We've come a long way from panic to fear to new normal, and hopefully we are on the way to old normal. A gypsy heart doesn't sit easily in one place, and from the very beginning I delivered dinners around North Leitrim, drinking in sights like Lochgill and Park's Castle that others could only see in their memories. In the sunshine, driving past O'Rourke's table, I wondered what they would have thought of it, O'Rourke and Park. Of course, Gods make their own importance. I haven't been home in months, just ventured once across the border. St. Patrick's Day and the 12th, both cancelled. It's only fair to cancel them both. A literal plague on both your houses. Some people have embraced the restrictions, downloaded apps to help limit their world. I myself have always felt that you could travel thousands of miles as long as you didn't go to meet people. Say, go to a house party in Wuhan or Cork. Others have embraced cocooning, used it as a chance to pull a virtual quilt cover over their own heads and that of their families, as if that were the new way, Slí nua. I have also observed that Nazi tendency to inform about non-conforming behaviour. Yes, people have found me, eyes always looking for a potential carrier, stranger, other, outside my area. Let's face it, it hasn't brought out the best in everybody. For a while, I thought about asking the children to make me a hazmat suit with a badge saying, "Protect our frontline workers." It would have kept them busy for a while. But now, as people begin to emerge from their homes, mole-like, and still a bit frightened, I worry for them. How many people will be prescribed antidepressants unnecessarily and necessarily? I want to say, it's okay to be sad for the loss of the Premiership season, the GAA, the rugby, the pint, the tune, the trivial. Because, as it turns out, the trivial is not so trivial. It's okay to grieve for the loss of 1/4 of this year of your life. After all, it's not such a long life. Have a cry, shed a tear, it's healthy. And then open the door, just like me. Feel the wind on your face. I can't believe it's raining after 8 weeks of sunshine. And make a break for the border.
Hello, open micers. Catherine Zetterson here, singing to you from Gateshead in the northeast of England. It's really lovely thinking of you all out there listening to this, and I'm really excited about all that we're enjoying this evening. I loved the last one of these that we did at the beginning of the lockdown. It was just a really beautiful experience to share with all of you. So this is a song that I wrote inspired by a walk I took the other day along the river below my house, walking west, looking at the sunset. And in that walk I had this incredibly strong feeling of pull. I just really wanted to be on the shore at Screen in Sligo, where I spent a lot of my childhood, and I go quite a few months of every year. It's a really, really strong place of home for me. So this is the Western Sky. Walking along the river's edge pulls my heart below the waterline. Unseen bird song above my head brings some ease to this tired mind. I'll follow the western sky. I'll follow the western sky. I'll follow the western sky to bring me home. The spirits of my dead await me there, though their bones are long since dust. I am held in their arms as in a cloak of air, and the only choice I have is trust. I'm just going to keep going, guys. The same sun sets on the stones of screen as on these soft English fields. The same wind lifts the same bird's wings, and I feel such a longing for that rocky shore, such a longing for that rocky shore. So I'll follow the western sky, I'll follow the western sky, I'll follow the western sky to bring me home. I'll follow the western sky, I'll follow the western sky, I'll follow the western sky to bring me home, to bring me home, to bring me home. I have 3 poems for you. 2 I wrote in Tubberpatrick, that's our house in Screen, Tubberpatrick Cottage in County Sligo, where I spend a lot of time, in December 2017, when I'd arrived in the really middle of winter to open up the house and spend some time there. And the other was written the following summer when the weather was really, really wild. A lot of wind and rain. So, returning to Tubberpatrick. The garden is asleep and does not wish to be disturbed. The house stretches, yawns, slowly awakening. Light falls freely everywhere in this late winter afternoon, spread across the table, the walls, the spines of books, the shadows of leafless trees breathing on the ceiling. A little mildew here, a little dusty pile there, a little sweeping up here, a little wiping down there. Fires laid and lit. Remembering the ringing silence, the corners of memory, the invitation to unpeel, uncurl, stand still, ask new questions of myself. Listen out for inhuman voices calling from old stones, spirits of time, space and place that don't wait for me. But when I arrive, they make me welcome. The next is called Tubberpatrick Mornings. Mornings here are easier. The light sneaks up on me. I rise gently, wrapped in blanket, to the heavy sky and blurry landscape. Then I make the kitchen fire, brew a ginger tea, turn to the window, and all is luminous. Pearl pale pink, the gentlest of blue-grey-green striped across the horizon. I stand still and watch the fire catch. I stand still and watch the light creep across the landscape. I stand still and watch the black shapes of birds swoop and cluster and scatter. I stand still and listen. And finally, alive has to be enough. Clouds lie dark over the mountains. Crows huddle tight on the wires. The conditions are not perfect. The conditions have never been perfect. Rain blurs the window glass. Nothing is clear. Everything moves behind the ghost of my reflection, one of many ghosts. Layers of memory disturbed by the tides, thoughts, remembrances, choices, desires, once in flux, now utterly fixed, fossils trapped in stone. The passage of time is a great kindness. such a gentle help in learning to be human. If unsettled, then alive. Alive has to be enough. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Monica Korish, and I'm going to read a poem called Meeting Sisters in Cafes. I have two sisters. One lives in Sligo, the second in London, and for various reasons, we are all continuing to cocoon as the world around us unlocks. This poem about absence and gratitude is based on the shape of a poem by David White called Loaves and Fishes. I dedicate it to Mary Foley and to Breda Corish and to all my women friends. Meeting sisters in cafes. This is not the age of meeting sisters in cafes. Forget the bustle and bubbling of voices, baristas, the hiss of the coffee machine. This is not the age of sister hugs. Forget the scent of her hair like your grandmother's geraniums, the smell that says mother, grandmother, the countless generations back to Eve, back to the beginning of human, animal, warm-blooded time. This is the age of narrow circles, of gratitude for the gift of love in the house, Zoom screens, the morning sight of a collared dove air wrestling with a magpie, light through feathers, curved wings grappling air. People are listening for a future that smells and looks and sounds like the past. I am yearning, despite myself, for the age of airports. The drive to knock my second sister, younger sister, London sister, striding through arrivals, her red scarf a flag of fire, the warmth of her arms, my arms, the scent of her hair.
Hi everybody, my name is Ronan Gallagher from Loughrane here in Mohall, County Leitrim. Delighted to be playing here with the Across the Lines and the Glens. Great to get the opportunity to sing a few songs. This one is called Coming Home. It's a song about a journey back to a loved one after a long absence, which I'm sure a lot of people will be doing in the next while, hopefully. Coming Home. It's also going to be on my new album called Time Waits for No One, which is going to be released in September. City lights behind me, you lie up ahead, waterways beneath me, burning tired tread, driving on this summer night, windows open wide. I'll soon be with you, my sweet love. I'll soon be by your side. I'm coming home. 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 Road goes out before me for many, many miles. The moon shines down from the starlit sky, and it gives me a big bright smile. I know that moon is smiling when you lie up here. I'll soon be with you, my sweet love. I'll soon be in your bed. I'm coming home. 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 I turned into your driveway. My heart is beating fast. I see the light from your bedroom and the shadow that it casts. And on that garden pavement, straight to your front door. And in the pale moonlight, my love, we'll make love once more. I'm coming home. 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 Coming home. Coming home. Coming home.
Hi, I'm Fiona in Dublin. I've never done anything like this before, but I thought I'd give it a go. I'm hoping you're all a friendly bunch, and this is a piece that I've written based on my experiences over the last few months that I've called Staying Home to Come Home. From where do I mark the start of the journey? Was it Friday the 13th, that unluckiest of days, or so some might say? Was it that day before Christmas, when I sat in the doctor's office and read her body language and knew the results even before she spoke the words? Or further back, the day I watched the glass vials fill up with blood, wondering what story would emerge from the thick red liquids? Or further back still to my forming, when the genetics of the women who went before me were creating a map for my DNA. Lockdown coincided with the start, or was it the middle, surely not the end, of a fertility journey for me. As the world seemed to hit pause, so too did my hopes. I wrote a list, for that's what I've always done at these times. Make a plan, it will all be okay. Phone the doctor, ask Mum to make soup, tell Brian I love him, finish making those chair covers I've never quite got round to doing, learn how to work Excel. And yet, one of the first things I did wasn't even on the list, so instinctual it felt wrong to write it down. Read poetry. Every day I picked a poem, seeking meaning in the words of others when I couldn't find meaning in my own. Would John O'Donoghue point me in the direction I needed, or Mary Oliver put words to my feelings? For years now, I've intellectualized life mantras like, live in the present, it's all we've got. All this alongside constant list-making, goal-setting and multitasking. It's what drives me. I love being busy, or so I thought. Because then came Friday the 13th. The university closed. I had spent the last 6 months embedded in a master's in public health, and now I was experiencing one of the biggest public health crises of this generation. And at the same time, my role as a healthcare professional was changed into a role of a patient as I started a journey of scans and consultations and treatments. I was comfortable studying public health crises, less so living in one. I was comfortable as the clinician, less so the patient. I was comfortable as the productive list maker, less so the person with the empty diary and no assurance of when and how this was all going to end. I'd always told myself that it's the journey that counts. That's what we're supposed to say, right? But secretly I believed that it's still all about the destination. You look for signposts and you savour the journey, but come on, we're all focused on the destination, aren't we? I buried myself in statistics, partly because I had to for my course, partly because overnight the whole country was now talking about epidemiological curves and or numbers, and partly because the beauty of statistics and the bell curve has always fascinated me, how everything in nature seems to fit this sin curve. Take any biological or behavioural phenomena and it will almost always fill this pattern of order. And even if it doesn't, there's a formula to make it fit. And yet, I couldn't see how my current status fit into the bell curve. My diagnosis and my life trajectory wasn't in keeping with the rest of the data. So I told myself, if I'm the outlier, maybe I can be the outlier in the bell curve of bad outcomes. And maybe I'll be the one who defies the statistics, defies the odds, and my body will do what it's been told it may not be able to. In those early days of lockdown, I found my lists getting longer and an urgency to fill my time with baking and multiple 2-kilometre loops around my neighbourhoods. And then slowly, with no awareness at first, I found myself putting down my lists. I sat in my chair by the window and heard the bird song, now so loud with my attentive ear on the quiet streets. I discovered bushes of lavender and rosemary right by my home and breathed in their scent each night. I felt how my mood changed on my walks, moving from the beautiful homes with mature leafy trees and flowers to the area of old council houses, more grey than green, blocks of hard concrete rather than soft foliage. I felt so acutely how our environment shapes us more than we ever realise. And at the same time, by turning inwards, I was discovering a place that was beyond the pandemic and beyond the fertility appointments. My journey through lockdown moved me away from the semi-solace of lists and planning to the peacefulness of nature and a quiet voice within. I turned off the news. I stayed home. And my journey through fertility treatments moved me away from the future and into the right now and the small things that could ground me. The smell of coffee, the way my mood changed when I turned my lips into a smile, the beautiful shade of blue I'd never noticed in one of the paintings on the wall. Slowly I moved inwards. My sense of self gently moved from my head and into my body, and time moved from the future to right now, to this moment. New things grounded me. The feel of the melon in my hands, rough, round, heavy. The view over the rooftops of the sparrows, turning and diving, separate and yet as one. In those days of uncertainty, as we stayed home individually to share a common fate as one, I found a certainty within me. Things will unfold even when they're not on the list, and nature will show me how to live in a million subtle and awesome ways. I will cry and feel stuck, and I will laugh and feel peace, all in the same day, and it will all be okay. And as the weeks passed, there was a shift in my bell curve. It could have been the imposed lockdown, or the unfolding fertility story, or most likely the interaction of these two variables, but the outcome has been significant, the impact substantial. In staying home, I came home. So thanks for listening, and really looking forward to hearing from all the contributions tonight. Good night.
This song is called Reach for the Sun. It's a song about a walk around my neighbourhood with my firstborn many, many years ago. I wrote from the memory of that a couple of years back. It's called Reach for the Sun, and it's probably as much about a journey around here as it was on the start of my journey into fatherhood. Reach for the sun. We glide past the gate near the old church wall, where the faithful have gathered to hear his call. Our Father, hallowed be thy name. And down past the school where the children play, the sound of the laughter carries the day. We're walking on summer day. You reach for the sun and then you smile at me. Let yourself go and maybe you'll be free. The leaves on the trees are oh so green. The birds and the bees, they talk to me. Them calling out your name. We stand in the cool of a gentle breeze. Sun shines dapple through the forest trees. I'm falling to a tree. Reach for the sun and then you smile at me. Let yourself go and maybe you'll be free. We pass by the house where the fishermen stay, down by the lake in the sheltered bay. We bask in the morning sun. Back by the bridge where the cattle graze, the light and the shadow and the colorful blaze of summer, this summer day. You reach for the sun and then you smile at me. Let yourself go and maybe you'll be free. La da 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 da. La da 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 la da da la da la da 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 la da 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 la da. You reach for the sun and then you smile at me. Let yourself go and maybe you'll be free.
reach for the sun and then you smile at me. Let yourself go and maybe you'll be free.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Higgins. Monica Corr sent me an invite that sparked this contribution. I am neither a writer nor a performer, but Monica's invite let me scratch an itch I didn't know I had. So these brief post-lockdown reflections came out of two moments in time that kind of bookended this crazy period. The first made the government lockdown real for me, and the second marked my temporary suspension of the same. So here goes. The Wire, Sea Point, 3 weeks in. H and I are forced back. The walls of wires were up and all access cut off. No more wandering along the coast, letting the wind blow away the fear. The wires were up, no more swimming. Not that I would have done much of that in March and April. No, not me. Let the others glove up for that, and good luck to them. But the option was gone. These were COVID times. The wires were up, but they weren't holding back the tsunami in the nursing homes. The wires were up. We were in an open-air prison. It was official. The north-south divide reared its head. My friend in Donabate continued to enjoy long strolls through the forest, midnight swims with her kids at 6 p.m, and chugging their shoes through the largest sand dune in Ireland, no less. Someone should have told that fella Matt Damon the north side is a much better place to self-isolate, she harked. Ha! She, on a sunny day, and there were many, may have been right, but the numbers weren't agreeing with her. The terrified south side clung to this privilege. The bicycle. Friday, 3:46 p.m, 7.5 weeks done. I could stand it no longer. My head was going to implode. H had virtual drinks with his new job and I wasn't invited. I ran out to the garage and whipped out my cousin's California Cruiser with the comfy saddle. Wasn't I lucky she was in Florida? I pedalled furiously up the road, 0.5 of a kilometre beyond the invisible wire. Bandit. I arrived, having given advance notice to my hosts of my generous invitation to invade their back garden. The Swedes were welcoming. The bike was sequestered between two houses, lest someone eye the seat greedily. What? Oh, that's your landlord living next door. We'd better keep it down so. And then the tins came out, rescuing me before my emotional wheels fell off. It was only the 0.0 stuff, but the company was 85% proof. Licorice schnapps. 2 wheels good, 4 wheels, and all that. Sure, I'll have another one for the road, so to speak. But you can cycle back through the park, they said. Joy. Lockdown wasn't over, but my first impending crisis had evaporated in the shared evening sun.
Hi everybody, hope you're all well. In Manor Hamilton and Enniskillen, and everywhere else I suppose as well. Play a few tunes for you here anyway. Every day's a school day. Remind yourself not to do what you've always done. A clusterfuck of new mangled expressions, emotionally loaded terms and hyperbole.
Those socks have holes, overgrown nails on the toes. Oh, getting older, fortune favors the bold. Every day, everything's convenient. Old folks showed you aside for a juice to clear. Vincent de Paul, see they stalk Versace. Toes still catch on that carpet you'll clean next week. These socks have holes, overgrown nails and toes. Showers getting mold, watch as it grows and it grows. And so it goes, so it goes. Oh, getting older, fortune favors the bold. Modern art, fumbling at the future. Have you seen that the player in Ballantine? TV reality, watch because they're stupid. Wanna be just like that character, he's like me. These socks have holes, overgrown nails in the toes. Oh, getting older, fortune favors the bold. All these friends like you if you like me. Flesh-filled hob of desire gets you off to sleep. Stupid games, click those numbers bigger. These socks have holes, overgrown nails in the toes. Showers getting mold, watch as it grows and it grows. And so it goes, so it goes. Oh, getting older, fortune favors the bold. Alright, try another one now. It's just a little instrumental thing. Get me key right. Sweet. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'll try one more for you. If I can locate a plectrum. Oh yeah, there we go. Alright, go back here. It's a wee bit louder, I suppose. Hear them come in the dead of the night, heavy horsebeat declaring their mind. They're clipped up into night. Sound the death knell of someone's inside. Hear the rifle, its crack, see its light. They're clipped up into night. inside, you can run, try to hide. Shovel chance as you can against the tide. They're clipped up into night. There's no candles for them that have died. Lest the danger attracts to its light. They're clipped up into night. Okay, thanks for listening, folks. Hope to see you all in Cafe B's Launcher with Phoebe, Hedda and Sultan for some tunes and crack soon. Thanks.
This is a song about the first dog in space called Laika.
Vertical fathers are sweeping the ledges. Symmetrical uncles attending home vines. Latter-day martyrs smoke Benson and hedges. We're busy turning their tears into wine. Electrical discharges blurring the edges. Corporate housewives and white-collar crime. A culture of entropy is most contagious. No one is able to step over the line. I know the world is on fire. I know the world is on fire. I'm smug and indignant. I can't brook dissension. Erase every footprint that is not mine. I am my own God, awake and resplendent. This is my gesture, and this is my sign. I know the world is on fire. I know the world is on
This last one was published lately in online, or what do you call it? On the wireless, if we want to go into the 40s, on the radio, and it's about BBC Radio Ulster producer contacted me and asked me to write a poem for lockdown because he knew I was writing some funny stuff at the time, and I was told no bad language, so I tried to keep clean. But all that came out was a load of innuendo, so I apologise to anyone who's sensitive. Maybe they shouldn't listen to this part. Just skip the next minute or two and go on to the next person on the show. And it's really about what it would be like going shopping in Enniskillen, because I was looking at a lot of stuff about people on Pinterest making their own face masks, and I just thought how funny it would be if I went into Enniskillen and they had all these homemade face masks made out of their underwear, and what it'd be like. So I know, I don't know where this mind goes in odd time, but there you go. Carry on, COVID. Our plumber inquired after my pipes in B&M, and him in disguise, in a chopped, reinforced heel sock. I got a wild shock when I saw Mrs. Jones in Kells, her face strapped into the double D cup of a well-shook Playtex. I near wet myself at Denise in O'Doherty's, covered in spotty red nicks, as she said she couldn't resist his sausages. Well, I dropped all after yon book in Lidl. Leopard print budgie smugglers barely covered his bits, as he looked into my trolley and said, "It's hard to beat a good feed of meat and 2 veg." Thanks, folks. Hope we get through this soon and everyone's safe. All the best.
Hello everyone, open mic people. This is a song called Cow Dub. I'm sorry I used the looper. Gives me a chance to play the melodica, so hope you like it. traveling through the sand. He's on his way in a hot, hot land. Keep treading on to sell some things, rugs and hangings, whatever you may buy today. Everybody's got their price, they say, when you're sitting at the table. Most of them will just wave away. Don't stop, no, no, yeah. Dancing through the dust, from bar to bar, 100 miles it isn't far. Midday sun pushing you down into the ground you're treading. Every day it brings a lot of change. I might just chase a rainbow if you really want to make a gain. Don't stop, no, no, yeah. Well, we back home just another mile, and hope to make your family smile. Chasing one last prize as the sun goes down and the waves beat in, you're washed away. Washed away. Washed away. Right. Bit of melodic madness coming up. Well, that's it. A funny ending there. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone, again.
Go left at the main gate, right at the giant brake. You'll pass the penguins, just carry on going straight. We're in the yellow, maybe try to counter the cow. Excellent, have you been down here for long? No, like baby and Bower, I'm already well gone. Haha, see you soon. We're at the entrance now. Do you know what I was so excited about this weekend all last night that I could hardly sleep a wink? Let's just camp exactly here beside this pink fluorescent pier, or at least stop and have a drink, 'cause I'm ready for this festival now. Let's pitch tent and unpack a bag. Hey, make a point, don't roll a flag. The tent is fine, it doesn't matter if it sags. Woo! a torch, zip up the porch, we're ready for the night. Do you know what? I sort of feel like I've already been in this field, but I must just be confused. I don't think there were other people then, and was I only 9 or 10? Hey, it must be deja vu. Fuck it, I'm ready for running around to climb trees and scream and shout and all of those cool things cool kids do. Right now there is fun to be found. Let's get tangled up in blue. Drinking, dancing, growing darkness, funniness, mayhem, missions and madness. Do you know how many skibbity do I watch? Nod your head and play along, sing a completely irrelevant song. Follow your friend and sit right on inside the big top. Do you know what? I feel sure I might have seen this man before, or at least recognize your man. Will we maybe try and push up to the front and dance around and act like us, or will we maybe just sit down? I think we're ready for another little round of jumping up and down on this mulchy, muddy ground. Let's play a little round of waving all our limbs around. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, there you gone. Meet your friend and dance for ages. Try to talk to strangers. My name is Lost and Found Esteban. Dude, your name's what? Do you know what? I feel sure we might have met somewhere before here. Do I know you from around town? Or have I maybe seen you on TV? Well, sure, it's all the same to me. We'll work it out if we can. Hey, maybe were we chatting earlier? Clearly I've been round here before, 'cause that's my jacket lying there on the ground. That's really funny. I thought you said your name was Lost and Found. Here, want a drink? No, it's fine. I've got one choice on my mind. Yeah, go on, let's stop then. It's Buckfast, tequila and lime and rum. Hey, it's what? Yeah, so I know that it sounds pretty weird, but please trust me, I swear I've been on it for years. Well, that's definitely alcoholic anyway. Hey, that's yum! Do you know what? I feel sure I might have had this drink before, but somehow don't recall the night. Would you maybe like to have a little can? That's very kind of you, madame. Do you know what? I just might. Or hey, maybe if you're feeling like a risk, try this mystery tipple that I picked up off the ground. I think it's tonic wine that I've been calling it my Lost and Found. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my mate. Hey, hey, aren't we having so much fun? Time flies when you've been drinking rum, but I think we should skip along into the rain. You know